Okay, good morning. I'm going to call to order the KPPA special meeting of the Executive Director Search Committee, and we're going to begin with an opening statement.
For the record, I want to note that this is a special called meeting of the Executive Director Search Committee of the Kentucky Public Pensions Authority. This meeting is being held at the Kentucky Public Pensions Authority offices located at 1260 Louisville Road, Frankfort, Kentucky, and by video and telephonic conference, and is being broadcast to the public by Facebook pursuant to Kentucky Revised Statute Section 61.826. I ask if you are speaking and not appearing by video, please identify yourself before talking. In the event this meeting becomes disconnected from Facebook, we will attempt to reestablish a connection. If a connection cannot be reestablished within 30 minutes, the meeting will be adjourned and rescheduled to another date.
Okay, thank you. Roll call.
Yes, sir. Mr. Piercy,
Here.
Ms. Hampton, Ms. Pendergrass,
Here.
and Mr. O'Mara.
Here.
Any
Thank you.
public comment?
No, sir, no public comment.
Okay, the next item up is an appointment of officers. Vicki, correct me if I'm wrong. We don't have to do a vice chair, correct?
Correct. You don't have to do a vice chair. Under the KPPA bylaws, though, the chair of KPPA appoints the chairs of the committees and a vice chair if wished.
Right. Okay. So I can't imagine we're going to convene this group unless all four of us can be here. So I don't think there's really a need for a vice chair. Bill O'Mara sent some recommendations in a couple Fridays ago. I thought they were excellent. I think he's engaged in the process, and I'm going to ask him to be chair.
Thank you very much, Keith.
You accept?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good deal. So Bill is going to chair this particular committee, and I'm going to turn it over to him for number 6.
Okay. Well, some of the things that we might want to consider to get this off and going is to ask each of us, and I suggest asking all of the C and K board members, because we don't know who would be on the KPPA board working with this new executive director in the future. But I think it would be interesting and informative if we ask each person to send us what they think are the 3 most important traits, skills, experiences, or emphasis that they think are important for the next executive director. And that would give this search committee points of reference to see what they felt were the things that we should be looking for. I would also add to that suggestion that we include David Eager and the 2 CEOs for their input into that as well, since they will be very much interested in the success of this search committee. So that's a suggestion that I wanted to put before the committee and see about your discussion of it.
Yeah, I think that's a really good idea. I was thinking about the inclusion bit a little bit different, but I think your way of doing it gets everybody. I was thinking that maybe we should add members that are new appointees, but I like your method better, and I think that that will help all the members feel like they are involved. So I think it's a great idea.
Betty gave me a thumbs up. Then Keith, are you good with that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a good idea, and I suspect everybody on those 2 boards will like to have a little bit of input, and that's their opportunity.
Okay, then I guess one point of clarification is the support that we can call upon to help this committee. And so I would ask either Lori or Sherry to be administrative support. I don't know your workloads. I don't know what's appropriate. So I kind of ask if one of you all would step forward to be our support for this committee.
I don't mind to do it. I will say that Lori did a great job helping us with the personnel committee organization on CERS and with all the background and organization that we needed to search for that CFO. So she's already done an outstanding job on this type of project. So I'd be excited to have her help us again.
Well, since she stepped forward, we really appreciate accepting that, Lori. So if you could help us ask those questions to those key members.
Okay.
The next thing I thought we needed to do in order to go forward was identify the professional organizations, the websites, the postings, the places we wish to contact about the executive director position. We as a board decided not to go forward with a professional search team, but to get the word out that we have this opening and we have an interest globally for people that would be interested in this. So I know that there were several that were mentioned in the last meeting. I don't know if we're prepared to talk about that or it's something that we need to put forward to Lori. Do any of you all have a kind of a shopping list of who you think or where we might want to post this opening?
Bill
Yes.
was doing the search that Keith had required, thinking about words and stuff like that. I pension investments. So
I'm sorry, Lynn, you're cutting in and out. I'm not able to follow what you're saying.
I think she sent an email that had a listing from the pension and investments. What is it? It's some sort of
Magazine.
it's a magazine. Okay. And it was for the CalPERS when California was looking for a new CEO. And I think she's trying to make the point that that would be a good place to start.
Great.
yes,
Super.
and I also think that Laurie, can you hear me now?
Better,
I'm sorry,
yes.
we're driving. Okay, so Laurie, I think, can look at this for also a part of the ad. I actually sent two, and I think the CalPERS is the most appropriate. But yes, I think that, and I also think the places that we posted Mike Lamb's job just is also appropriate.
Well,
That's it.
NASRA is free. I think NC PERS is free. Pensions and investments, which is widely distributed. There'll be a cost associated with that, placing that ad.
Not a problem.
Yeah. So, if you want, we can get what does a 4x6 or whatever it is cost, and how many times to run it, if you want to approve that expenditure.
And that was my next point, that once we had identified these places, we need to identify the requirements or restrictions for posting the opening. If it's limited to 200 words or whatever, we would need to know what the restrictions were or the requirements in order to make that posting effective, which would lead to asking our staff here to work on a short description of KPPA to educate people that are not within the state who we are, what our size is, our volume, our assets under management, number of employees, number of retired, blah, 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 as well as maybe a summary of looking for motivated people that have this type of background. Once we get that feedback from the other board members. So yes, if we could find out once we have the list, what their requirements are of posting, then we could streamline those postings to meet those requirements.
Mr. O'Meara, in addition to the ones that Mr. Eager and Ms. Hampton listed, there's the National Association of Public Pension Attorneys, and a lot of executive directors of pension plans have come from attorneys, their background, so I'd suggest that one as well, and it's free to post on that one.
Great, super. Betty, did you have any others to put forward?
I would include GFOA because they have across the country, we have a number of public pension plans that may not be statewide, but they're large local government plans. So, and they have a recruitment or employment messaging board. NIRS, I'm not sure that they have a resource, but I have a contact there that I could reach out and get some information from them. And then the International City Managers Association might be an option.
Well, this is more than I was expecting. So this is great feedback. I think the word will get out.
And I'll add, when we posted the CFO position, we used many of these to post that job. So we have accounts and I have contacts with some of these organizations already.
Great.
Super. Any others that anybody wants to throw into the mix?
I don't have any others, but just out of curiosity, when you listed in all those places for the CFO job, like give me a ballpark number. How many applications did you get?
We didn't get a lot. We didn't get
Okay.
yeah.
Well, that was going to be my question. I mean, you know, I've never done hiring on the open market. I've done a ton of 18A hiring, and you can get quickly overwhelmed with the number of people. I was going to bring up the point we're going to have to come up with some sort of filtering process in the event that we do get a whole bunch of applications, because we're just 4 part-time board members, and I can't imagine we're going to sit through 100 interviews.
Well, that's a great segue into the next thing I had on my list, and that was to clarify whether we had certain steps that are required in this search. So I just wanted to make sure that we were within compliance of any requirements that we may have.
I think this is the beauty and the curse of all this, right? There are no rules. You know, as I pointed out before, the last time this job was open, we hired Dave Eager off the board with really no process whatsoever. So, you know, in some ways that's a blessing, and then other ways there's no guardrails, and I guess it could be a negative as well.
Well, then we may want to consider just watching what kind of response we got and talk about what sorting we might wish to have. So there's no standard application to fill out that must be done, no online. It's just people's resumes.
There's not for these types of positions per se, from my perspective, but the way that we handled the CFO position, regular 18A positions are posted in the state system called My Purpose. And when those are posted, applicants go to their website, enter their application information, attach a resume, and then we can see those. They're all gathered in one place. We can pull them off and print them or save them on a separate drive. We can also do that with non-merit positions. There are no parameters per se for that, but it does give us one place for everybody to apply and to house those if you want to go that route.
I think it's real important to have a distinct documentation trail of what we did and why. That way we establish that we've tried to be fair and open, that we've used consistent HR policies for searching for professional staff. And I think Lori has an excellent suggestion for using the state application website for collecting these applications. I think that's a good spot. And it helps us document what we did.
One area that I'd like some discussion on, and that is when we were dealing with the CFO position, when it came back from the HR, state HR, it came back with a ranking. And I think all of us kind of felt when we got to Mike Lamb's, it was like, I wonder why this wasn't first, you know, that kind of thing. And so I would hope that, one, they'd give Laurie I mean, look, I mean, I hate to say if there's 100, give her 100, but some number. But I don't really feel comfortable with the state AR or HR department doing the ranking on a position that there are not very many of them in the state. So ranking, I don't think that they'd be experienced with that.
Yeah, and they
Lauren,
they
your
won't.
thoughts?
Yeah, on the non-merit positions, they won't rank those. So
Okay.
that we can literally use it as a place for applicants to apply. And then those applications just live there. And then we can,
Great.
like I said, we can pull them off and save them on an external drive and send them out.
That's great. Betty, I wonder if you could do me a favor, or Sherry. I sent Bill and you two job applications that were on pension and investments. Could you forward, one of you all forward those to Laurie, because I don't have her in my contact file.
Yes, I can do that.
Lori, can I ask a question here real quick?
Sure.
Yeah, you keep saying non-merit, but this is actually a contract position. So does personnel allow you to list a contract position hired by a board?
As far as I know, I will double check that.
Okay.
It's really any non-merit. We're just using the system. You're right. It's a contract position. So I phrased that wrong, but they just allow us to use that site to gather those applications. So I don't think it would be any different, but I'll make sure.
Okay, yeah, and it probably would be if they do let us use it. It'd be a good central place for everybody to submit their applications. But I just didn't know if they allowed contract employees hired by boards. It's a little bit of a different thing.
Laurie, is the governor's office going to weigh in on compensation on this position?
No, this position is exempt. So they won't.
Yeah,
Well,
they
it's a
won't
good
weigh
point.
in, but everybody will be watching.
And Dave, that's a good point. I understand in the past, compensation has been a major issue on who was interested and who wasn't. But I think if we go nationally and we have some responses, then their salary expectation is educational to us. It may not be possible, but it's educational.
We do have some Nazareth and other compensation information on this position. If you'd like, we can share it with the committee.
Yes, that would be great.
Yeah.
A couple of the things that I saw in those job descriptions that I think would be important is a description of where, of Frankfurt and the regions around Frankfurt, and especially when you talk about cost of living and things like that, because that, somebody's living in California and they're very qualified and they think about coming here for a salary that's less. They need to think about cost of living is also significantly less.
Yeah, in the past, we've gone to Nazareth and given them a list of states, or we've said we want neighboring states, and they created a specific universe for us.
All right. Well, I think we'll take advantage of the online application as long as the resume is included, correct? Okay. Well, the next item was looking at the executive director job description, so we have a clear understanding of what the job means. And I guess in the attachments is the executive director job description from our bylaws. Is that correct? Bylaws. So has everyone had a chance to read over that?
I would suggest that we start with an exact copy and paste of what's in the bylaws. What we found when we were working on our personnel policies and procedures for CERS was that if we had a difference between what the bylaws expectations included and what we had put in the personnel manual, then we had to resolve those. An individual would have to figure out which one they're supposed to use in terms of doing their job. So I would start with an exact copy of the bylaw provisions. If we want to change those, then we need to go back to the bylaws and make that change in the process so that we keep the two distinct or keep the two matched up.
Well, the other thing that I would think would be productive is what's missing here is what are the responsibilities of KPPA? Because that is also what the executive director is in charge of. This talks about if there's an emergency or safety of records and that type of thing. It doesn't talk about what is it that KPPA is responsible for doing. So I think that would be an important addition.
Bill, do you not think that the section 1.3 of the bylaws, KPPA board responsibilities, does that not fully cover it, you think?
I think it does, but we were talking about just using the 1.4. So I think it needs to include both.
I definitely agree.
Yeah, I think when you read those, especially the CalPERS, you might pick up some additional information that you like. I did. I mean, a lot of nice words and things. So.
I guess what I'm interested in seeing is a statement that administers the program, that everybody gets paid and everybody's payments are appropriately tracked. And this talks about the board and this talks about the executive director, but that's an integral part of the responsibilities of KPPA. So I just think that needs to be in there somewhere.
Yeah, I think it's probably important too to point out that there are 260 or so employees you're ultimately responsible for. This isn't a job where you only have 10 or 12 folks.
Mistaken, 300,000 plus beneficiaries of the trust.
And assets under management.
Yeah.
Those type of benchmarks that people look for when you're looking at an organization.
I agree.
You know, one thing that right now is the funding status of KRS. So putting the funding status of all the funds, CERS, KRS, SPRS, all of those is important. And maybe even a statement showing that changes were made in KRS that has improved the funding status over the last 2 years.
Well, I think that's what Sean and Chris can do a good job of, writing something up like that.
Yep. I think, Bill, you said that just an overall description of KPPA would be good, and that would fit well in there.
Right. It tells our story where we are today, not what somebody read 10 years ago or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Mr. O'Mara, just to let you know, I forwarded, I think, 6 or 7 executive director job description or recruitments to Lori, so she has them. A lot of them, there's a newer one, I think, from Ventura County in California, are booklet forms. So they include a lot of that. So they're not just like a 1-page job description. They're actually like a booklet form for the executive director type positions. So I have forwarded them to Lori. So she has all of those.
All right, this assignment's getting interesting.
I also remind people that we are in the minority and that we have trust behind our retiree health plans. and that four of the five are over fully funded. We
Great
kind of
point.
ignore that side of the, all the time, but the house is in order there.
Good point. Thank you, Dave. Well, I guess we're getting a wave of data for us to wade through as members. And so at the end, we ought to talk about how much time it will take to collect that, then how much time to review it so that we can have another meeting. I don't know if it's time yet, but the last thing I was wanting to talk about was thinking about the proposed steps and timeline for the search. What are our goals in order to get these things posted, to get responses back, to go through interviews? You know, it doesn't mean that we'll meet them, but I always like to have goals and see how well we score to them. Do you think we're a meeting away from that, or do you think we could go ahead and start talking about that today?
What if we start from the end point and build our way back? Because we do have kind of a defined spot. We need a new one by July 1st. So if we back up from there and pick a spot in May or June where we want to have a hire, and then move backward from that to get to a general timeline, we can refine that as we go along.
Yeah, I was actually going to say April 1st. I'd love to see us get this thing done where the entire last quarter of the fiscal year, everybody knows who's going to take over and everybody can begin that transition.
We can certainly have that as a goal.
Dave, in your experience, how much notice does a person that's coming into an executive director from an executive director's position have to give?
I don't have enough experience on that. You may recall that Mike Lamb asked for almost 2 months in order to wrap up things he had going there. I think it's going to be I would assume at least a month.
So I think that fits into the April 1 timeframe, Keith.
Yeah, I think the sooner the better. It gives whoever it is time to give notice if they come from the outside. And I just think it gives all the employees a chance to, figure out who's taking over and to begin that transition and make it a little easier.
Well, I anticipated that. Excuse me. So if we work backwards, we have to be cognizant of kind of a dead period during holidays. So if you have a selection April 1st, you want a month for interviews? Do you think you can get it done quicker because you have to have consultation after those interviews? Lori, what have you seen in the past?
And when we worked on the CFO position, it did take some time, and we actually, the way that we worked that, we don't necessarily have to do it the same way, but we reviewed the applications. The folks that were involved reviewed the applications kind of as they came in groups, and then scheduled those interviews, and then circled back if we needed to schedule more. I think it's easier if you have them all, figured out ahead of time, and then schedule those. A month, I think, would be plenty of time to do that. If you have a deadline for them to apply for the job, or that you're going to stop looking at incoming resumes, and then you designate a month to schedule those interviews, of course, with flexibility.
Back in
the administrative work, which falls on your shoulders, of developing the the request for the ad, and then getting it on the state system and all the administrative work. How long would you say that would start from the beginning. Let's see what we have in the middle.
Once we have a job ad developed, and we're good to go, you know, if we're going to use the My Purpose system, we can put it up there. And then immediately go ahead and have it ready to go up on all the sites. But in my experience, you would want to leave the CEO position open longer than a standard, you know, job. So a month or two, maybe, to leave that job open for folks to see it and apply.
Let me
Do you
ask
think
here
you
is,
could actually
sorry, go
go
ahead.
ahead? No, you go ahead.
I was just going to ask, is it unrealistic to think we can have this thing listed by the, let's say the 6th or the 13th of November?
No, that's not unrealistic.
And if we did that and left it open for, let's say we left it open for the rest of the calendar year where we were ready to start interviews in January, does that sound like a realistic timeline?
I think that would be perfect.
So that gives a month and a half.
Mm-hmm.
I think that sounds aggressive. Let's talk about how much work we have to do in order to get that posting ready.
I've got a rough schedule here of going from where we are now to having the advertising materials ready by November the 1st, collecting the applications through the 2 holiday periods, November the 15th through January the 15th, review applications by February 1st, do our interviews in February, and a new hire by April 1st. And we could actually extend interviews into February and March.
Yeah, I mean, that's a month, basically a month further out than what I said. But yeah, I think that's definitely doable.
All right, we can adopt that. That means we're going to meet a whole lot in the next 2 weeks and digest a lot of information. So how soon can you get an inquiry out asking for the board members for their input?
How about today, Lori?
Yeah, I can send it out today. Absolutely.
Okay, and so then we give them till the end of next week to answer, or do we give, today is Thursday, right? Next Wednesday, how long do we put them under the thumb?
You're only asking for 3 traits or 3 strengths, or
Right.
You're not asking.
Can we ask to have it back by Wednesday?
Seems to me that's reasonable.
So Wednesday, the 25th.
Right. So then it gets distributed to us. Am I walking through this properly?
Yes, that would work.
And at the same time, we would get distributed a collection of where we're looking at posting,
Yes.
and also a first draft of educating the public on who KPPA is, as well as a job description, but we would be amending that last part based on the input we got from the questionnaire.
The who KPPA is, they'll have something. They're a long way toward having that. I mean,
Yeah,
they do that.
I figured
immediately.
they're ready to rock and roll on that, I hope.
Yeah, 410,000 members. Da 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 da. Right.
Yeah. So
Vicky sent 8 job ads, and I sent 2. I think there'll be plenty of information to pull from. I know Laurie will put her own touch on it, but there's some very good things in there. That we're filling a position is, that Dave's, it's important to somebody. It's not like he was fired and we're. Can you still hear me?
yes.
Anyway. Okay. Anyway, so I thought that was a real good addition in the CalPERS, telling the people that will potentially fill this, that it's a retirement, not something else.
Good
I think
point.
Laurie will get all that out of the samples.
Okay, great.
All right, so the committee has a book of reading available on Wednesday, the 25th. So when does the committee feel comfortable coming back and having input based on all that data? Is Monday the 30th, Friday the 27th? What is?
I could do either.
Yeah, you're just talking about reading the recommendations, right, from the board?
As well as the write-up, the
Yeah.
potential posting, that type of thing.
Yeah.
Can we also send those to Laurie so that she might see some words that board members have submitted that would work into the ad?
Lori's going to send it out, so she'll receive the
Okay,
feedback.
yeah.
I heard some research on NPR the other day that when employment ads include the compensation range, they're much more likely to get responses than when they don't. So you might want to think about whether you want to do that, and if so, we got to get the data to you early, which we can. We've got it. We just needed to get it to you.
All right, if you could include that with the data dump on the 25th.
Yeah.
All right.
One more thing to think about. This is way at the
Sure.
far end, but my transition from Bill Thielen to Dave Eager was 2 days. Here's the microwave. I have soup at lunch. I mean, it was not much of a baton pass. And I think largely one of the important things of the baton pass here is going to be introduction to people that we have really developed good relationships with legislators and people in the executive branch and elsewhere. I think introductions, allowing me to do introductions with a number of these people would be very, very helpful. That's going to take some time running parallel. It'll take less time if we end up with an internal candidate, because I think any internal candidate has probably had the opportunity to meet with and interact with most of the legislators we need. So, but I think, except that it'll be helpful to have a period of time when the new person and the old person are here for some period of time, whether it's 2 weeks or a month or whatever it is.
Okay. If I understand you right, it's after the selection. You don't want to take candidates.
After the hire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good points, Dave. Thank you. And we'll try our best not to have a 2-day pass off. So we've got talking about meeting again either Friday the 27th or Monday the 30th. How's that sound for everyone, including staff? We need to think about your all's demands as well. Any input there?
The 27th works really well for me. The 30th I could do, but I've got to change an appointment that I already have.
And it works for me too. I've got a few meetings, but I can rearrange those.
That works for me too, Mr. Amara. I'm just going to let you know that I am leaving the country on November 3rd, and I will not be back until the 11th. I'm going to visit my 85-year-old mother. So if there's any meetings during that time, I will make sure Carrie Bass is available,
right.
Since Michael cannot be the assigned attorney to this.
Well, we wish you happy flights and travel.
Thank you.
Well, I actually have an appointment on the 30th, so the 27th is the better for me, but I can rearrange my appointment if Monday suits the most.
27 is good for me.
Is it possible to have it at 9 instead of 10?
It is for me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Are
Thanks.
you okay with that, Betty?
I'm okay with that. I can get a nap in the afternoon.
I think they deliver Starbucks from Uber, so we can get you some coffee.
Not in Bardstown, they don't.
Wow.
Only $14 a cup.
Yeah.
I'll stick to my green tea.
All right, well, for summary then, we're going to meet at 9 a.m. on Friday, the 27th, and discuss the data that we had received on the 25th. And that would be input from each of the executives and board members on what they're looking for, what they would like to see. We're going to see some sample write-ups of KPPA and how to present the executive director position. And I'm forgetting the third, what was the, oh, and some compensation data from NASRA. And anything else that Lori finds that she thinks would be helpful for us to go forward. And then we're going to try to distill that down early in November so that we can let the world know this is what we're trying to do.
Lori's support staff is just 2 people. And compared to HR departments elsewhere, it's really thin. So Lori, if you want to rely on Sherry and Katie to be administrative support to you, feel free to do so.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
We appreciate that. It is kind of compressed here, so group effort would be great. All right, does anyone have any other business? Am I allowed to say that? Is that okay on the?
Well, we have to stick to the agenda because it's a special meeting. But if it's
Well-
anything regarding the discussion and decision on the initial steps, then that's free if somebody wants to add any of stuff to those.
What Vicky said. All right, do we need to go into closed session? Is there a motion to go to closed session?
I don't think there was any items for closed session. It was just
just-
put on here as a holding in case we needed to for
Place.
specific people. Yep.
All right, in that case, I think we're ready to adjourn and I can declare the meeting adjourned. Thanks, everybody. And thanks for all
Thanks,
the work
Bill.
you all are going to do.
Thank you
Thanks,
very much.
staff. You've done a great job.
Thank you. Have a
See
good
you.
day.